So I watched that video in which, they were talking about it was a lady who had gone to the food bank and she was disappointed with the food that she had gotten. And in one of my previous jobs, one of my responsibilities or one of the things I took upon myself to do was to make sure that my residents received food bank boxes. And there were people who were disappointed with the food that they got. Um, and having been on both sides of this, I have a little bit of a different take, right? So, like, I totally understand going to the food bank to get food because you're hungry and you went and got all this food, but you still don't have anything to eat, right? Like, I don't know what to do with these fucking beans. Like, how am I gonna prepare this food? And it wasn't until like I learned how to cook or I started using my like alternative thinking to be like, okay, so this is what I have. Let me figure out what I can actually do with it so that I actually have something to eat, right? So I totally get her like, oh, like what am I actually going to eat? Like I get that, right? But at the same time, I came up with those resources so that I still had something to eat, right? And having been somebody who made sure that people in the community received these sort of resources, I also know the kind of work that it went into just to get those cans, just to get those boxed items, because you have to go to multiple sources to receive this because it's all based in donations, all of it. You got to, negotiate with stores to do food drives. You got to do all kinds of things. And having worked with people whose job it was to make sure that we worked together to make sure that our residents got food, I can guarantee you that nobody wanted to give you those cans. I can promise you that one of the first things the team came up with was to go and get as much fresh food as possible. But again, that's also, even if you do get the fresh food, it is one of the first things to go, right? Like, because you got to get it out fast or otherwise it'll spoil. And then you have a whole room of stinky ass onions. Um, so it is hard to get fresh ingredients. So I know for people who watched this video, it was heartbreaking because they didn't want you to have those cans. They wanted you to have fresh fruit, but also they have to be able to get things that are shelf stable because let's say they go and got all that fresh fruit on the 1st and now it's the 15th. That fresh fruit is gone, right? Like all of that stuff, it's gone. Like it's gone as soon as it hits the door, as soon as possible, because you're trying to get this stuff out to as many people as possible. So I definitely get this whole war raging about, oh, she was ungrateful, or oh, she has a right to be disappointed with the food, because sometimes you do have to do a little bit of math to figure out how to make this food happen, right? You got to be like, so I got these noodles, I got those beans, maybe I could make something with it, right? So, but this is how you can tell that those people really, really wanted you to get the best food possible. It's those little things that were inside of that package, those individual chewy bars, those individual items. They were trying to get you to have as much as possible, you know what I mean? So if you're on your last leg and all you got is that chewy bar, you got that chewy bar, you know what I mean? That's one of the things that you use. It's those little items that let you know how much work those people were putting in to make sure you had as much food as possible. You know what I mean? Like maybe they had a full box of chewy bars and somebody broke up the box so that you got 2 in each bag to try to spread it out as much possible. Things like that. And yeah, they do get a lot of dented cans and, broken packages and stuff like that because it is donation based. So sometimes you'll get stuff from the store that the cans are dented, and that was a part of their donation. That was part of their donation drive, was to give you guys the dented cans. And again, the people at the food bank, as long as, it meets the criteria in which you can make those donations and you can save that food, then you've got to keep it, or and hope that somebody is understanding about getting the dented can, So I get not knowing what to do with a bunch of food that you just got, but I also get like, we all know what comes from the food bank, you know? We all know what comes in the food bank. The fresher items, we all know, you know, are harder to come by. You know what I mean? Like, we all know, like, if you get the fresh food, then it's more on the rare side, right? Because, you know, everybody talks about the food bank. What you get, you got a whole bunch of cans and stuff like that. You know, I know people who go to the food bank to get the cans as a part of their like storm prep stuff. You know, like I live in an area where gets a lot of hurricanes, so you know some people go to the food bank just to get those cans because you know if the power goes out, now they have food. You know, um, so there's like a lot of different takes, you know, that you can take on it, but overall, I'm saying I get it, but you knew it was coming from the food bank. You know what I'm saying?